Well, it's after work and we got the Pertronix from Amazon, and I'm walking out to the garage and it's freezing out here and it's windy. So I'm gonna duck in the garage and hopefully it's a little bit warmer and we'll install this Pertronix. All right, we're back on the 69 Ford and let's take a look. Okay, I pulled it in a little bit different in the garage so I could have some better lighting since I haven't put up any lighting. So we'll use these little magnet lights. See if we can see what we're gonna do. Alrighty, I remember when we put it on Old Blue and it wasn't too bad. I think the biggest issue is finding the 12-volt line. Okay, this time I went with the 91281. So this is the Pertronix ignition number 2. So they make a 1, a 2, and a 3. I put number 1 on Old Blue and I'm putting number 2 on this one. This one says it makes a little hotter spark, and then I have the coil around here somewhere too. I'll have to look and see where I put that. So let's get started. Okay, this is not a how-to video. So we'll just start by popping this distributor cap off. Putting that to the side. That is the loosest. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. See if we can get a little bit closer view in case this helps anyone. And it's not perfect, but if I remember right, we take off the condenser first. Okay, so there's the points and condenser. Okay, if I remember right, put these wires through here, and then this goes there. Okay, then we put the magnet on, that supposedly is improved upon. One thing I was reading, does that go down, or it's got to go down like that? One thing I was reading online is I was actually watching a YouTube channel, Resto Mod. They said with these electronic ignitions that you better keep your battery charged, because on a low battery it won't start. It'll crank over, but it won't start. That was interesting. Okay. From what I understand, this is our gapping tool. So we're gonna gap that thing. Okay, feels just about right. I'm gonna hang on to that gapping tool. So let me put these on and we'll come back. Alrighty, here's the coil I'm using. Flamethrower 2. It's supposed to be very hot. Yeah, I hope so. Well, it's not so hot trying to get it in here. I pulled the other one out and I've been trying to, I stretched it out off camera. Sweet. I scratched it up for a bit, but we'll see how that works. We're gonna do some fixing on this later, but I don't want to cut into any wires right now because I know it ran, so I don't want to mess it up. Okay, I'm gonna go in, put that on there before we forget. I'm gonna go in the truck and see if I can bypass that ballast resistor that's dropping down the voltage. Okay, I found that the wire coming into the coil is already 12 volts. So I don't know how they were running 12 volts to the old coil and not burning up the points. But it was a 12-volt switch. So I have no idea what this other wire going to the coil is. I'll have to see if I can find anything online. But let's see if it starts real quick, and I don't want to run it too much because it's in the garage and I'll get asphyxiated. And I don't want to open the garage doors because it's still cold outside. Okay, so it's running it's running. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow during the day when I can open the garage door and not freeze, and then maybe get a better shot at how it's running, and then we'll go from there. Another thing that I noticed we needed was a fuel filter. There's no fuel filter on this fuel line. I left it a little long on purpose, so it's snaked up around there. I'll figure out final routing as we get a little bit farther into this truck. So that's the fuel filter. And I spilled gas everywhere. All on my gloves, all on the ground. Yeah, I gotta walk out of the garage. It stinks. I'm getting lightheaded. Alrighty, it's lunchtime out here. And it's warmed up to 33 degrees. So it's still a little chilly, but it's warm enough to test Old Blue. So, not Old Blue. I don't even know what the nickname is for this truck. The Green Machine. Whatever, the 1669 Ford. Put the Pertronix on last night. Put a fuel filter on last night. Let's give her a run a little bit longer and see how she runs. Okay, I threw on the old air filter. Looks like it's been through the war. But I think I might take it for a test drive once it warms up. I might be able to do this while I'm holding the phone. Whoa, that's a lot better than last time. And it's not a souped up engine. It's just being refreshed from what I was told. It was torn down, the cylinders honed, 30 over pistons, which is just basically refreshing it, and stuff like that. Oh, they did put a cam in it, so I can tell the timing's still a little off. But it's definitely running better with the Pertronix than it did with the points. Okay, I'm going to slow down for the school and use two hands. Okay, I took it for a good drive. Timing's off because it won't start again. Oh, didn't want it a second ago. So, I got to get that timing fixed. But it's running pretty dang good other than the timing, so I'm going to go home and monkey with that. Okay, I'm setting the timing to about 12. Okay, I'm going to tighten it up and see if that changes the behavior. I'm hearing a little tick that I don't like. That's not good. Alrighty, so far this is the best it's ran. I adjusted the timing to about 12 degrees and it's not pinging when I hit the gas. I don't know what it's going to do when I shut it off and try to turn it back on. It's been kind of hard to start. But so far this is the best combo, and we're going to keep tinkering until we get it running really, really good. So that's some good news. Okay, Austin and I are at Wendy's. He thinks my truck's a big piece of junk, so I wanted to bring him for a ride. It's not a piece of junk. It's a treasure.
dirty.
Okay, Wednesdays was good. The music was really loud in there, but gives us a chance to drive the old green machine. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, Austin was convinced, disgusted earlier when we got into this truck. I think it might be growing on him. We'll have to see. Well, you've seen everything I've done to it, and it's been not much, just trying to get it to run better. And he can find everything that it needs really quickly. So let's drive it home.
Okay, so we're off. No power steering.
No, it's hard to turn until you get moving.
Whoa. It's all bumpy in here. I have a drink to my left right here. So, it's that creepy stick shift. Creeps me out. Just driving that. It's all taped up, the steering wheel. Pull down there. Whoa.
So what do you think? Is it a piece of junk or is it okay?
It's okay.
Okay,
Definitely
we clear?
no power. Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna have to cross my legs for this.
Has more pickup than old blue.
Oh yeah.
Still needs some fine tuning.
What the heck are you doing, biker?
You don't want to hit that biker.
Middle of the road.
Yeah, that's not good.
Weirdos.
We know him. I think we might have known that guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think we do. Taking off. Whoa. Okay. See you when we get home.
Well, it's Saturday afternoon. I'm not feeling too good. Got a head cold or something. But I got to bust outside. It's cold, 30 degrees. Sun's shining, so it'll keep me a little warm, but I thought I'd come out here and tinker on this truck a little bit. The gas gauge isn't working. Maybe we can see if we can figure out what that is about. So I'm gonna take the sending unit apart and see if it's a float or what that deal is. And then we'll go from there. Okay, let's look inside here. So the gentleman I bought it from said there's something wrong inside the sending unit. It's not picking up fuel. So I think we should take that apart, see if we can figure out if it's simple or not. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is use a 1/4-inch socket after I drop it and pick it back up. And let's take this out. Take this off. I assume there's a gasket in here. We want to be careful not to destroy. Okay. Okay. Notice this one has a rubber deal on it. I've read about these. I believe this rubber is to help it soften when it hits the tank on the inside. Okay. Gentleman that I bought this from said that this thing was leaking. Looks like there's some kind of a sealant in there. So he said it was sinking to the bottom. So let's do this. Let's hook it up, and then we'll turn that up and see if it registers. If it registers, then it is this float. Let's take this off there too. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Looks like someone tried to seal that float up because there's some junk. That's not good. That'll end up in the carburetor. So, okay, that's on. That's grounded. I'm going to hold that. I'm going to just set that just like that. And so, if I turn on the key, that should register full. Let's see what the key does. Okay, so I'm holding it with my right hand. With my left, I'm going to turn on the key. Let's see what she does. Okay, the gas gauge is moving up. That's fantastic. That tells me it is the float then. See if we get a full reading. Huh. It's not going all the way full. But now I'll let it down like the float's all the way down. Okay. So this proves that the gas gauge actually works and everything works, but the float is not letting it work. Okay, so now let's inspect this float and see what we got going on. I'm going to turn off the key. I am rubbing off this some type of silicone or something on the float here, and I immediately see a hole right there. See if we can get some focus in on that. Okay, right there is a hole. See that? So there's definitely a hole right there. Maybe more. I'm gonna look, but notice what it does when I shake it. Gas is coming out. So there's definitely gas in there. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and see if I can see if there's just one hole or more holes. And then we'll go from there. Okay, as I'm cleaning this up, it is 100% full of gas. It was so full it wasn't sloshing around, but now it's sloshing around in there. So it is 100% full of gas. What I'm thinking is I'm going to empty all this gas out and see if we can solder that hole up. We should be able to solder that up. Okay, while that float dries out, I thought I'd look at this heater. The heater's not even hooked up. So, well, the heater doesn't work, and I'm investigating. So there's two wires that come from the heater, and they come up here, inside here. One's ground and one's power, and the power goes to a plug that's taped off. So that tells me someone taped that off on purpose. The heater core lines in the engine bay don't even go to the heater core, so someone did not want the heater working on this vehicle. So that's interesting. So I'm going to take this tape off of here, and I'm going to find the plug where it plugs into. We're going to see if this heater blower motor even works. Okay, I went and looked at Old Blue because I still have Old Blue, and this plugs in somewhere back here. I can feel it, but you can't see it. So I'm gonna see if I can plug that in and see what that does. Okay, I got that thing plugged in back there. I don't know if I showed you this before, but look on the floor here. There are 3 holes that I don't know what was in here? Did someone punch in, I don't know what that is. Punched, maybe, did this have air conditioning and someone took it out? I don't know. Because those 3 lines are pretty interesting, or those 3 holes. I don't know, I'm completely speculating, but I got that hooked up. Someone definitely disconnected this heater system. So I'm gonna compare to Old Blue and see what I can find. Just for fun, I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna turn the key on. Okay, key's on. Just for fun, let's see what it does. Nothing. Not a thing. So is power even going to that? I don't know. Let me play around with it. Okay, I'm going to use the gear shift as a ground. Let's see what that does. Hey, blower motor works great. Okay. So that tells me it's just a power issue over to that line. Okay. I noticed that the fuse box over there has got a little wiring stuff, and there's a missing fuse in there, so I'll see what I can find out, but that's a good sign that the blower motor itself works just fine. Okay, I think I might have found the problem. That top fuse says heater AC 30 amp, and it's blown. So this one, let's see if I can get my finger in there. This one right there, I'm blocking the light. That one right there is blown. I don't have one, but I'm gonna see if I can wrap some gum wrapper around it. See if I can get it to work just for a second. Okay, I wrapped this fuse with a piece of extra gum, the Extra brand. So I'm gonna pop this in there and see if I can burn down the truck. Okay, I popped it in there. Here goes nothing. We're gonna listen and watch. So I've got the heater blower motor on. I'm watching the fuse. You're watching it with me. Kind of nervous. Hey, motor came on. You hear that? So it's that fuse. Okay, I pulled that bundle of wires out too, because I didn't know if that's causing the fuse to blow. Could be, because there's a bundle of wires in there. Okay, that's good news. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm watching for smoke. Sweet. That's pretty good news. Let's see if it shuts off with this control over here. Yep. Okay. Blower motor's hooked back up. I just got to get a fuse. Now, in order to get the heater to work, I got to hook the heater lines up to the heater core. So, let's clean up this mess and then we'll go from there. Alrighty. In order to hook up the heater lines, I need to connect them. Kind of hard to see down here. I need to connect them to there. So there's a loop that connects these lines together. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut that one right there. Hook it. This one goes on the left side, and then the control one goes on the right side. So we're going to lose some antifreeze, but that's okay. Whoa. Okay. This one's going to go to the left side. So we're going to connect this to the left side. Maybe. Alrighty. Then this one goes over here. Looks like it's been this way a long time. Alrighty. Okay. Those are connected, but I'm gonna hose clamp them and make sure everything's good. Okay, so I rerouted those hoses. I think I'm gonna end up shortening those, but I wanna make sure the heater core isn't leaking before I put too much time and effort into this. So I can't test drive it or start it up yet because the gas tank float is still out. So I think my next step is to solder that float. Alrighty, I've had the float sitting on the heater vent for a couple hours. It's nice and warm and should be dried out. There's the hole. Let's go see if we can solder this. Okay, I have the float in my vise. The float's not really in the vise, but the paper towel is. So I've got some solder. I've got two kinds, acid core and rosin core. And I think acid core probably will work best. I rubbed some flux on there a little bit. I have some flux from a plumber's flux. So looks like it's got hot and leaked out. But I'm gonna give that a try, and I'll try to video some of it. I'm gonna try to get this hole nice and warm. I know I need to get the brass hotter, but I'm filming with my left hand, so I might have to put this down and do it. Might have to put this down and do it with two hands. Okay, I smoothed it out a little bit. That's what it looks like. I'm gonna let this brass cool off because it's hot, and then I'm gonna submerge it in some water, some warm water, and see if any bubbles come up or anything like that. And if not, we can insert it back in the gas tank. Alrighty. I smoothed a little bit off with emery cloth, but let's see what it does in the water. No bubbles at all. Sweet. By the way, I looked around my local stores, AutoZone, O'Reilly, Napa. They didn't have one. So nothing wrong with soldering it and fixing it. That should be a permanent fix. Okay, it is not putting any bubbles up, so it should be good. It shouldn't be leaking. So I think we'll throw it back in the truck and see what happens. Okay, I put the float back on, put the little rubber noise stopper back on, put it back in there and see how it works. Okay, almost installed. Okay, let's turn the key on, see what she does. Woohoo! It's going up. Gas gauge are working. Got that one fixed, I think. Off to the next one. Thanks for watching.